You got it?
Yeah. Shall I start?
Okay. I forgot. It's a touch screen. Touch screen. Yes.
Do you want to just?
Yes. Thank you for all of you to attending this lecture. This is a presentation for our ongoing research, me and Laura. I came here in 2008 for beginning of our research in urban design code and social housing, the quality of the urban space for social housing. And the idea for today is we invite Professor Regina and Professor Anwar to join us to share the other experience for this subject of quality of urban space for social housing. And first of all, I would like to thank you very much for you attending here in Oxford with us. And I would ask them to present themselves, it's easier. And we can start with Professor Regina. And our students from Brazil are attending this meeting. And in the end, Professor Anwar is going to explain his experience in Canary Wharf Council, and then we have a small debate about this subject. Okay, Regina, thank you.
So, hello, good afternoon, everyone. I think most of you in the Oxford classroom know me, but for those people in Brazil, I lead the MA in urban design, and Laura, Anwar, and I actually did our doctorate together here about 2 million years ago. Don't we look really young considering how long ago that's that? And today, Anwar and I are going to bring into the discussion how to, urban quality of social housing, bring into the discussion urban intensification and density, right? And how, in a way, when we think about delivering, urban quality, we think that there's an opportunity there, right? So when you intensify development, there could be a possibility of delivering urban quality as well. Okay. So here we go. Oops, changing on mine, but not changing.
Yes, it is not.
Okay, so there are three things I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to try to go really quickly. One is the social spatial aspect, which we as urban designers can control and manage. The other one is a theory that I borrowed from an economics theory on sustainability. Yeah, so it's a different way of thinking about sustainability. And the other element is time, because I think all three of these are related when developing urban quality for social housing. And I'm going to try to connect these three theories. Okay, the first one are the morphological levels. Yeah, so you've probably all done that. And actually here in the MA, this is our medicine for sanity. There's so much that goes on in terms of urban design, but this is an ordering system. And I think it's really important to recognize that that not only are these elements interrelated and you have to deliver urban quality across all of these, they're also arranged according to time, right? So if you do something in the natural infrastructure or the green and blue networks, it will last a very, very long time. And it's very important that we do this right, okay? And that has an impact on public linkage networks or streets and access. Yeah, so you do need that because it's important to have access to land, and that frees up land for development. Again, once the roads are there, yeah, it's very difficult to remove that. So we have roads all the way from Roman times. Having roads makes land accessible, so that's really, really relevant. And once you have land, you can set up buildings. Okay. You can tear down buildings, Okay, but it's very difficult to change what you put here. So I think in an area of caution, you need to think that they're all related to each other, but some last longer than others. Okay, and that's a concept of time. The other thing is all of these morphological layers, you can see here, right? Yeah, these morphological layers, it applies to any scale of settlement, whether it's a town or a big global city. And the examples we're going to talk about today, Anwar and I, are here, yeah, are global large cities. Yeah, so we're talking about cases in London. Okay, so the natural infrastructure, this is something that I borrow from a book that Soham and Prachi, you all met them. They're coming out with this book, right? And they're interconnected, and usually they go beyond any site, right? The value of green networks is that they have to connect, right? And this is the highway that biodiversity and nature, yeah, you need these connections. They don't go through roads, they go through these connections, and they go from patches to corridors. Okay. Now, oftentimes, where there's the tyranny of the red line, right? You think this is my site. This is all I'm going to think about. It's not. Yeah, it goes beyond that. Yeah. So birds and animals go beyond the red line, and I think it's worth it. You have to share the planet, right? Because it also makes everything a lot better, right? In terms of street networks, it's a science, okay? It's quite important to know. So this is a study from Space Syntax, which shows, yeah, that when you design roads for connectivity, it changes. The red line shows that it would be the most active streets, right? So there is a science for understanding streets. It's important to understand streets because you need to know what activities you should put in the most active streets and which ones go on quieter streets. So there's a methodology, right, for delivering quality urban space depending on streets. And this is a space syntax. Yeah, it's been going on for a long time. They've got maps and resources. You see, the minute you design your streets, yeah, you see, yeah, the blocks, it changes, yeah? It changes the color of streets, yeah? So it's important to actually understand. Streets are relevant because it frees up land for development once you connect it, yeah? And then you can develop activities and also land use, yeah? But it's all layered together. Yeah? So the quality of public realm in those streets may be influenced by the natural infrastructure connections that you make. So and finally the buildings, yeah, which is, you know, maybe most developers will just think of the buildings or the architects, but the quality of those buildings are highly reliant on the other, yeah, on the other morphological levels. We cannot deliver urban quality for social housing without making those connections, right? So this is quite nice. It's a theory that I borrow from economics, right? And I think it's really relevant to urban design that in order to deliver a safe and just space for humanity, which is inclusive, yeah, and sustainable, isn't that a goal that we would like our settlements and cities to have? You need to deliver the basis of social foundation, which is inside here: food, water, education, income, social equity, health, right? We're all saying, I want to make a healthy city, blah, 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 right? Now, the challenge here, and I really like this diagram, the challenge here is that in order to deliver this safe and just space for humanity, we shouldn't, you know, exceed the environmental ceiling. Okay, and I think this is a very good theory because it requires creativity and innovation. Why? Because at the moment, yeah, we have a shortfall on delivering the very foundations of social equity, yet we're already exceeding, right, the ecological ceiling. It's a very good concept of sustainability, right? And then you need to think, well, how am I going to deliver, the relevant foundations in what makes a city, right? So this safe and just space for humanity, that's what our settlements or cities, that's what we aim to have. And it would require designing these, the social foundations without overshooting the ecological city. Are we good? You like it? The donut, it's called the donut. Yeah. Is anyone familiar with the donut?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. And then we go to King's Cross, and this is the third aspect of my talk, which is about time. Okay, and how you generate a place over time. You see, you've just finished your Swindon master plan, and I'm sure in your mind it's all going to happen at the same time. But it doesn't, right? And I think in King's Cross, the lesson that we learned is like, how did they create a place from the first, from the seeds of change? So in 1945, like most available land in cities, in big urban centers, would be leftover land. So it used to be a railroad depot where they threw, trains that didn't work, it was just there, right? And anyway, it was hard to get to, there were railroad tracks, but it ended up it's in the center, right? And here we have St. Pancras and King's Cross. There are two rail stations. One connects to Europe and the other one is a national railway thing. So, So first, this infrastructure, was created. Let's see if I can use this one. And what do you think the very first thing they did in King's Cross? Is anyone familiar? Like, how did they? So they needed to connect, these two, railway stations. They wanted to connect to the water, and the first thing they did was they built King's Boulevard, which is this, right? So you created a lot of traffic going through here and connecting it to this place with an open space over here, and they maintained a few old buildings, right? So the purpose was to create a destination. There was nothing else there. Remember, it was like, the trash can of London. Now, how do you create, a place? Yeah. And that's what they did. Yeah. This is the boulevard, that connects it, crosses over, right? And then there's this river, which that's how they used to transport coal before. It became useless because now we don't use coal, right? So what else is it useful for, right? So now we're really focused on green infrastructure. What do you use? Green infrastructure for?
Swim to work.
Swim to work, okay? And that's probably more affordable. And as you can see, there's nothing there, but they created the street. So the first thing they create is a place, urban quality. There's no housing yet, there are no offices. It's a destination, it's public realm. That was the first thing that was delivered. Very slow. Oh, okay. So this is the granary square, an old building. So in this space are like old buildings that no longer matter, right? So they are warehouses, and it's repurposing the buildings. But remember, that's high up on our morphological level. The first things that we need to sort out is the green. How do you use the canal? And how do you use the street? Okay. And then you create an activity in the public realm. So the first thing that's actually delivered is urban quality. And that's the lesson to learn from King's Cross. And then the buildings, finally the buildings, so you see here they created activities and land use once they made the connection. You can't have this without the street first. Yeah, so there's an order into the way things are delivered, and then activities, which is the fountain. Yeah. So as you see, we're generating a place, right? And that takes time. So you don't even see the development, but people are actually accessing or already getting there. And if you're not familiar with King's Cross, they actually gave part of that granary to an art school. Yeah, Central St. Martin's is located there. Why do you think they put an art school there? Yeah, let's have a guess. Artists are interesting people, you know, so they're creating like an event, okay? And I think it's part of the activity to attract place because it's, you know, it's very difficult to bring young people into a city. And actually, one of the drawbacks, it's very successful, King's Cross, it's also very expensive. Yeah, and that's the debate. Whether just because you have urban quality, does it have to be unaffordable? Yeah, and Anwar and I have been discussing that although we have it right in terms of the higher levels of the green infrastructure and the road networks and transport system, those provide livelihood, right? You can go in there, right? You can cycle, the air is nice to breathe, like it's equitable, it's inclusive, but not on the block and building level. It's really expensive, right? So in a way, you know, that's the debate. Like, how do we now deliver, yeah, social housing, yeah, for quality public realm,
right, without resulting in gentrification, and
yeah, and we
the
think,
big challenge.
yeah, we think the answer is on the smaller scale, yeah. Also on the policy, the building design, right? Do we need to have such large spaces? Like, what is the solution in terms of the architecture? Yeah, density is a solution. Yeah, we increase the number of houses, so the land is less expensive, but it needs to be worked out. Yeah, and finally, yeah. So on the building level, yeah, they kept a lot of the older buildings, but they made sure that the buildings created quality public realm. Anyone can go to King's Cross, but it's very difficult to be able to afford to live there, right? But anyone can have jobs there. Yeah, so Google is there, yeah, and they hire a lot of young people. Why? Because there's a transport system. Yeah, you can walk there, you can cycle there, you can't swim there yet. But you know, I recommend it now.
Wait until they graduate.
Yeah, they'll get you. Yeah, so because there is a canal, it's right. And the interesting thing about King's Cross is because they created this hub, which is really successful. There's now a High Line, yeah, that's going to connect to Camden. So the High Line, yeah, it's a green line, just like the High Line in New York. The minute you create access, you free land for development, right? And hopefully, yeah, by freeing land for development, by making that connection, we're able to deliver. Yeah, so we have now quality public realm, right? In terms of the green infrastructure and mobility system. Hopefully, you'll be able to deliver better quality social housing. Yeah, but that requires innovation, design, and I think a lot of thinking on your part. And the other case study that we're working on, and you might be familiar, is in Stratford. Yeah, this is the River Lee, right? And this is where the Olympics were held. Okay, before that, yeah, this is the center of London. East London was like really in bad shape. And the reason they wanted to run the Olympics there was so that they could regenerate, yeah, this whole area. So you can see from the maps, oh, that's great green infrastructure. Yeah, this is really gonna work out. And I think it's ACOM that delivered the Olympic. They had to clean, yeah, this river system coming down here. so that the Olympians would canoe over there, and there's housing there. Yeah.
Please use your mouse because the students from Brazil cannot.
Yeah, so this is Stratford. Yeah, and you can see, there's great green infrastructure. It's a green finger that comes right into the center of London to the River Thames. And as you know, probably with green infrastructure, that would be great, public realm. And it's huge, the park. It's really true. They cleaned it up, population can increase, you can canoe, you can cycle, you can walk. Yeah, it's and we're working on a site right here. Yeah, our bachelor, our UDP students, that are doing Global City is working on this site. So it's a very neglected part, of London, and where the Olympics were held, which is up here, the East Village, it looks great, and it has the same phenomena as King's Cross. It's unaffordable. The minute you have quality public realm, and it was turned over to a developer, it's really expensive, right? But it's very good, in terms of the housing and then the design and access to nature. It's really unbelievable that you're in the city center, and actually, I think you have better access to nature than Headington. And this is what happens with urban intensification, right? There's really resources, to deliver quality public realm. How to make it equitable is the discussion. So this is our site. As you can see, there's the London Stadium. There's Zaha Hadid's Aquatic Center and the River Lee, right? Which is clean. It's now clean. You can actually swim on it. And this is our site that we're working on. And actually, it's quite interesting because there are several, there are tube stops here. So this is the site. There's Stratford High Street, Stratford, and the DLR, right? And this is our project site, within the red line, Carpenter's Estate, right? It's very expensive to deliver the green infrastructure that London has invested in for the Olympics, and also the accessibility, which is the underground system. The challenge of this project is how to make it inclusive and equitable. So we have one student over there, that's working on this. She's gonna solve everything. Do we have any questions so far? And when we do our research, right, which we've done with the whole team, so this is just a framework on what we need to find out. We know that there's green and blue networks, there are movement systems that are positive, but how? We develop the blocks, the plots, and land use in the buildings is where I think the innovation comes out in order for us to be able to deliver a safe and just space for humanity without overshooting the ecological scene. Oh, and I'm going to turn over to Anwar because Anwar, you're going to solve everything.
Thank you.
I'll stop sharing.
I worked on King's Cross.
Did you? Yeah. So we did
I did the cast iron coach.
yeah.
So I did the model.
Well done.
So in that building, we connected it to the underground so that you can go through the underground directly into.
Are there any questions from people online?
Yeah, yes.
No, all good.
I think I can make the questions for the end of the presentation.
How do you present from the here?
Now we have another perspective from this same issue, or how we can deliver affordable houses with good urban quality, with the quality of urban space. And Professor Anwar is showing his experience in the council houses, and then in the end we're going to open for questions for debates. Thank you, Anwar. I would like you to introduce yourself, and it's easier. Thank you, Anwar.
Thank you, Maria and Lucia, for organizing it, Laura and Ethel from Brazil. Yeah, it's a pleasure to see you all master students. Yeah, I'm Anwar Punekar, Brazilian student. I'm a regeneration professional. I started my career with architecture, moved on to urban design, then into regeneration. So what we're going to speak now is just extending from what Regina spoke about. Regina reinforced the idea of how important is natural infrastructure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about two case studies. One is Northumberland Park Estate, which is in Tottenham. Tottenham is in North London. And it's in a kind of inner city, some kind of difficult area, what we call a challenging area to deal with, where you got a Tottenham Hotspur's football stadium. £1 billion has been spent on that one, which I was involved with. And then we've got this North Quay, which is in Isle of Dogs, which is Canary Wharf, which is on the opposite side of the spectrum. So these are two on opposite sides of the spectrum, just to give an idea of where we are. And you know, what is that the social tenants? What is social housing, if I may just clarify? Social housing is affordable housing for people who are unable to afford housing in the private market. So they need to put up their names in the housing register in a council, and then they need to queue up. It takes sometimes, depending on the the length of the housing register, it takes 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. It all depends upon whether you're looking for 3-bed home or 1-bed home. 1-bed home is a bit comparatively easier to get, and 3- and 4-bed family homes are difficult to get. So these are in both cases, I'm going to say what is the plight of social tenants. Although we talk that we have the design world has moved on and we are doing good stuff these days, that from outside we can say, oh, this is tenant blind, this is great. But inside, what are the issues? So let's go through them. So this is Northumberland Park Estate Regeneration. There's a huge estate called Northumberland Park in North London, which has got severe crime, violence issues because of some episodes of social engineering in the past. Have you heard of what is social engineering? Okay, what happens is in Northumberland Park, there was a big estate. They thought if they can bring all the vulnerable people together in one location, it's easy to provide health services, it's easy to provide schooling, it's easy to provide support system. So they brought all the vulnerable people, such as homeless families, or mother who's single mother, or people who have got severe health issues like Down syndrome and stuff like that. So what happens is if everyone is together in one location, then we got different things work at that level. But what happens in the following generation? So that came to roost, and that is what we are going to look at. So what happened? This is this is built in 1960s estate, and this is largely 1-bed homes. So you can imagine it's not a balanced community. If it's largely 1-bed homes, it's not a balanced community. You don't have many families. So if there are some, they're overcrowded. Means a larger family is living in a 1-bed unit. Okay, and then it was 800 million pounds project, which is Northumberland Park regeneration project, to deliver 5,500 homes. Currently, it has just got 2,200 homes. So more than doubling. This is what we are calling intensification. So more than doubling. But that was pulled down. Why it was pulled down? Because some issues within the administration, within the council leader and the administration Labour Party which was running that council, there were some issues because they were not able to get more social homes. Out of 900, they were able to just re-provide 600, and they were building 5,500 new homes. So there was lots of revolt and rebellion within the party and within the community, and that is why the project was pulled down. So now what happens, there's another project coming up just across the road, which is called High Road West, which is for 2,500 homes. And then with Tottenham Hotspur's football club, those three schemes would have regenerated most of Tottenham. So that was really looking forward to, but it didn't happen. So now what is happening in Haringey Council, it's same Labour administration, but the power has moved from Labour right to Labour left. So there are changes within that for this. Okay, and they are now seeking to come up with new solutions so that they can retain some development, they can demolish some rather than going for wholesale demolition. So they are trying to do something, but it's taking a bit of time because this was pulled down in 2018 and we are in 2023. It's 5 years now. Things happen if we are, if the party is full of far left leaning councillors and cabinet members, what happens? The decision making becomes a bit slower, and that is why the project is not going ahead. But let's look at the issues it's got. It's got severe deprivation. This is London Borough of Haringey, and this is Northumberland Park ward. So look at it. It's the most deprived ward. And look at it. There are highest number of job seekers, claimants, benefit claimants, and then there's 50% higher crime levels. Then educational standards are very low, and housing choice over 50% are one-bed homes. And then health issues, men die 7 years earlier than the rest of the borough. So these are real issues. Then you got transport. Yes, you have got transport. You got 5 train stations around it, but it's not easily accessible. You need to walk about 15 to 20 minutes or 25 minutes in some places, and it's not very frequent. So we've got 50 hectares of land there. Then we've also got 34 hectares of industrial land, and it's very close to A406, which is an arterial road, which links to major cities and to M25. That is very handy, but still this area is not going ahead. So what I want to say is just to show the relationship between social housing and public realm or urban context, what we call as a because what you see is there is a direct link between what we have, the flaws in urban design that we see in Northumberland Park Estate, that is directly relating to crime levels, and that is directly relating to poor quality of design and unused urban spaces. So this is the council owned. This is, the whole estate is council owned, and this is what you got. 953 are secure tenants, council tenants, and leaseholders. Do you know what is leaseholder? Yeah, so you got 345 leaseholders, then you got temporary accommodation, about 5 tenants. So yeah, this is what is, the whole estate is made up of.
You need to click with the mouse because my other thing is the mouse.
Yeah, So what happens is during John Major era, just before Tony Blair, and during Tony Blair, during Tony Blair times, the councils came up with the strategy of decent homes. Decent homes is improving homes and bringing them to decent standards. So that was a big what do you call task. And what the councils did is they were not able to improve so many because it's a costly affair. They were not able to do it. So what they did is they formed housing associations so that they can take over some of these council stock and improve them, bring them to decent home standards, and then people start living normally. But that just remained to the extent of internal improvements of an individual unit. What didn't happen to social context or the urban context, that didn't happen. So that was a major flaw at the time because they didn't think about the importance of urban context, how important it is. So then what we did in Northumberland Park Estate is we did some analysis and saw what are the issues in there and why is it not working for people, although internally they are good, but as they are not ready to people, you know, when you spoke to residents, they were not ready to come out and come out in the dark or come out in the evenings because they were scared. There was drug dealing, there was crime. Even now, it's not a kind of a very pleasant area to go because of the issues it's got. So what we see is we see all these things that I spoke about. Green open spaces are there, but they're not used because they're not laid out properly in the master plan. They're not thought clearly. They were just thought in terms of putting a number of units in that space, not as you know, designing something which is which takes into cognizance the networks that Regina was talking about, the green infrastructure, the blue infrastructure, the transport infrastructure, the pedestrian infrastructure. You know, all these are networks we need to link up, and that linking is not done here. That is why it is a failure, I must say. So then again, you know, if you go deep down, you'll see front and back conflicts because they're not fronting where they need to, and they're not backing where they need to. And that is also creating issues and creating spaces for crime and fear of crime. Okay, then you got a single occupier dwellings. And you know, when the area becomes depressing or when the area becomes a bit run down, what happens is people with different kind of intentions move in, and then social issues starts. Prostitution starts. So all that you can see in this, and then crime levels are very high. So this is just you know, to show this is the Northumberland Park Estate, and then you got Lee Valley Park Regional Park, which is behind this. That's a regional park for the whole of London region. You can see. Yeah, this is again, you know, council ownership. All these is a council owned. The whole of this, apart from your Tottenham Hotspur Football Club (THFC), and then this is the High Road. Okay, and then yeah, so yeah, this again shows you the traveling distances and stuff, how far it is, and what are the transport linkages this place has. And you know, majority of it is housing land use, but some of them is also school buildings and you know, parks, allotments, health centers, and some local retail. So they are not very kind of tall buildings. You can call it low-rise development, and that is why it was seen as a regeneration opportunity, because that is what you know, councils and developers look at. You know, if it's low-rise, then what they can do is they can buy them out, whoever living in there, and then build on top of them, or you know, raise the heights, and then you know, recoup the investment and make some surplus out of the regeneration. So as I was saying, despite this whole Northumberland Park estate being located just 500 meters from regional park, the river, Lee regional park, in our conversations with residents, none of them said they are using it, they're going there, because they've got more, priorities of other stuff, more important stuff than going and, walking the dog in the park. So these are the things which we need to think about.
How far is it, Anwar, from the park?
500 meters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just half a kilometer. But they just need to cross a railway line, but there are
5
steps.
minutes.
Yeah.
6 minutes.
Yeah.
6 minutes.
Yeah.
So they have to cross the railway line.
Yeah, but there's a step and then there's ramp as well. Yeah, but that
You
is
know very
something.
well
Yeah,
about that.
yeah, something we need to think about.
That's very relevant for the project that we
Yeah.
are doing the masters as
Yeah,
well.
So yeah, these are the some green pockets, but most of them, the red highlighted areas, are not used spaces. They're just there, open spaces, but they're not used. So what we are seeing in new developments is these kind of areas are being cut out. There's no scope for unused spaces, okay? Because the design approach has changed from 1960s to today. So this is not going to happen, okay? Yeah, this again, I talked about this conflict of fronts and backs. So they're all inward looking. You don't feel like, people get in and that's about it. They don't care what is happening outside. Okay, and that is, again, creating opportunity for people to create low levels of crimes and drug dealing and stuff. So this is the crime analysis. You can see the hotspots. This is very high. I've worked in many councils in London, but this is very high.
Does it correlate very well with the exposed backs and inactive areas?
Yes,
and
it is that is what we try to show, that it is directly connected to the quality of urban design, which is very poor. All the designers thought about is how they can ram in as many units as possible without thinking how it connects to the public realm. Okay, so that is what is happening. And in here, regeneration officers and people from our department, they go and walk with police once in 2 weeks, once in a month, in a program called Knife Sweep. So they go and pick up knives from hidden under the trees or under the bin sheds and all the hiding places, because of crime levels are so high. And then they pick up, they collect, and then that is again melted and some sculptures and stuff is done. But why I'm saying this is you can understand the level of crime.
Yeah, we are working in an area with
that is happening.
really high.
So
Very interesting.
So yeah, this is just the summary of what I spoke about. What are the issues there? What are the urban design issues we got? And we did lots of these kind of consultations using all different approaches. And in all of these, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 5 years, the main thing was more affordable housing. Is that what they wanted? People. That was the foremost priority, more affordable housing. And then the second was tackling crime and antisocial behavior. Tackling crime and antisocial behavior. So look, this is what is very, very important for urban designers, is to design out crime. Okay, yes.
Is this in that same area, that same plot?
Yeah.
From 2014 to 2018?
Yeah.
And why wasn't anything done about it? Because every year you're having the same problems. Sorry, I've just come in now, so I've missed the first bit of it. So if they're asking for housing and the crime hasn't been reduced, each year that council, have they not done anything to tackle it? Because it seems to be the same.
They try to tackle it, but they didn't have at the time funding to deal with it. And then they tried to involve a developer to take it on 50% partnership.
Yeah.
But there was revolt, as I said, some people felt they were marginalized and this area is going to be gentrified because they were not inclusive. They didn't think that they need to provide at least 50% affordable homes out of 5,500. Instead, they reduced the numbers to 600. So that was very kind of unacceptable to many people. And that is why the whole program fell apart. So, and then pulling back from that episode, now they're still thinking, and they were appointed big consultants like Hawkins Brown, Mapua architects and stuff to see what kind of urban design framework can they develop based on this. So now they're at that stage.
Do you think it'll change now? The better?
I think so, because of the pressure of housing in London is so much.
Yeah.
And because of this Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, which is £1 billion investment that is working. So there is some change there that might happen. But it's not like what Regina was presenting. It's not like Canary Wharf or Stratford, this huge communal amenity spaces, green infrastructure, water and stuff. It's not that. And that might have some impact. Yes.
But still, because it's so close to the park, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder, what do you think, Anwar? Because you bring to us very invaluable actually information. We are here dealing with an area which is very similar. So I wonder that because of the location, which is quite good, near the M25 and near the park and etc., whether any improvements to the area, being it the urban design fixes, let's say, fixing frontage and backs and everything, and investing in quality, which is what we are trying to do in the research. How do you think that will lead to gentrification? Because that's what Regina presented in the examples. She presented 2 examples, but we know of hundreds of examples all around the world where quality led to gentrification, especially in vulnerable areas like that, and vulnerable but extremely well located areas. What's your insight? What do you think? Do you think there would?
I think there is a massive opportunity here, but the will should be top down. It should come from the elected representatives, that's the mayor of the area council, and then the whole cabinet, because decisions are taken there. What happens is, because of the experience they've had in 2018, where the mayor had to resign and go, and the new person took over. So they are hesitant. They feel they're scared to take drastic or significant steps at a time. They take very tiny baby steps towards achieving this change, and that is the problem. And my experience working there during that time was people were fed up with consultation. We asked to do consultation, but if it's called consultation fatigue. If you do too much consultation without doing any change, they get frustrated because they don't see anything happening. And you keep consulting, and there should be something, some action. So that is what was
We are just talking, Anwar, before the lecture, we are just talking about massive small change, because it could be a good way to solve this problem, because sometimes as urban agriculture, sometimes you do a small thing to improve the public health and then spread for the area. I believe this massive small thing could help with this thing that you are trying to bring for us.
That's a good point, Maria. What has happened is that they are now linking this Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with the stations, and then having some kind of retail or some kind of a good community offer on the way, so that people feel some improved pedestrian environment and stuff. So that is happening. Yes.
Small
improvements. Yes. Small changes are being done. without having to confront the residents, because they think the moment they do this regeneration, they are going to be kicked out, not because, you know, we got something called right to return. They've got legal stake, no one can send them out. But if the whole environment changes, it's difficult, because what happens is, if 5,500 homes were built here, and the number of secure tenants or you know, council tenants goes down considerably below 1,000, who is going to form the tenants and residents association's chair? Who's going to be? Who's going to be the member? They're all going to be someone working in Canary Wharf, someone working in bank, and they wouldn't have anything to do with these council tenants. So there's a huge gap that forms, and they tend to feel out of place, and then they start moving out, and then that leads to gentrification. Yes.
Yeah. Yesterday, actually, I think it was yesterday. It was yesterday. And there is a video now. The second year undergraduates are doing documentary as part of the regeneration project, and I came across this documentary about King's Cross, and there are several people talking about how they feel they like the regeneration, but they feel displaced. They feel like, I don't recognize myself here anymore. It's beautiful, but there is nothing here that is familiar. I can't afford. Which is another way of, you know.
Yeah, that is a thing coming in you know, if you read some articles it's coming very much in elections, council elections and parliamentary elections. What people are asking is, what is there for us? I mean, yes, Canary Wharf is shiny and all that stuff, but what is for them? So that is, the linking is very important. How do we link improvements to local residents? What do they get? So that is something which we need to think about. So yeah, basically this was one side of the spectrum, what I spoke. You know, Northumberland Park, very difficult area, very challenging. You know, many people don't go there in the evenings when the sun sets, you know. So it's that kind of area. Although you got everything, you got A406, you got M25 link, then you got but it's not working for people living there or people in the surrounding areas. The land values comparatively are lower than elsewhere of similar context.
We did decide, Laura, for the UDP.
We did it a few years ago. Yes.
Is it the healing urbanism posters that I saw on the other side?
No, but a few years ago.
Yeah, when Laurie, you know, who came to the event.
I went like design all over.
Brilliant.
Take the kids everywhere.
Yeah. So now this is another example of North Quay done by Canary Wharf Group. So North Quay is a high-rise tower complex, which is designed very close to, just opposite to Elizabeth Station, and which is just on the edge of Canary Wharf to the north. So this is a very different development. In here, they don't have anything to reprovide. There's no existing homes there. They've just cleaned up some sheds and some workshops, and then they have used it. So that challenge they don't have, A. And B, because it's Canary Wharf Group, their strategy is to push the council to accept provision of affordable homes to be elsewhere, not there with them. They try to do that, one. So what they do is, yes, we need to provide, say for example, this is over 300 units development. So what they do is, it's just over 1,000. So what they do is, for affordable homes, they locate them somewhere away. So they build homes. So what they're doing is they're just trying to keep this for private development. So that is what is happening with Canary Wharf Group. So, and the other thing, what I'd like to say is, as I was saying to Maria over the lunch this afternoon, is the issue of service charge. You know what is service charge? Service charge is you pay every month for whatever services you get to clean up your communal areas, okay, and get rid of refuse. So what happens is all these people who own flats here, they are working in Canary Wharf generally, or they're working in bank, okay, in the bank area. So for them, service charge £100, £200 more or less is not going to make any difference. But for other people who are social tenants or shared ownership people, for them it's huge. So what they do is they come up, they say this, can you blind? Can you say, can anybody see from outside that it's you can pinpoint where it's social tenant here? Because it's tenure blind. But for people who are living there are two levels. One is the social levels, they've got different entrance. So it's very congested, maybe bare concrete, just basic. And then they enter there inside and then go up. And then for people who are owning the property or who are private owners, for them it's a 5-star entrance. It's no difference, I'm telling you. Yeah, it's a fight. That's why there was a big article in Guardian called Rich Doors, Poor Doors. So everyone knows what are rich doors, because you know the moment you get in, you'll see that you are in different area. You got 24 hours concierge. You got all the you know, they pick up your phone like you're calling in a hotel. But not for those who are entering through poor door. Their delivery is not picked up by concierge. They don't have parking, they got nothing.
Wow.
So
We used to have a system like that in Brazil, with service lift and social lift. And now it's.
It's because of service charge. And they say the argument is management, it's difficult. If they want to pay, we'll give them, but they can't pay. So, and it doesn't just stop there. It also goes to the use of communal amenity spaces like child's play area, and all those areas like slides and all that. They don't tell them not to use children, but they are not welcome. If you want, I can take you and show some case studies like we did City Island. City Island, just next to Canning Town.
I don't know what to say about that.
Can't believe the council organized.
Yeah.
Even
like-
because.
No, I mean, look, they don't say.
And a certain sect.
Yeah, they don't say that. They don't say
This is
it.
for the upper class, this is for the-
It's a small print. They don't say, no one talks about it.
Right?
Yeah,
And
but
by
people-
law, they can get away with that.
Hmm?
By law, by British law,
Yeah.
they can get away with that.
Yeah, because it's a financial argument they present to you. If they're
If you
not
can
able to
pay
if
for
you
the
can pay,
bill,
then
you can use.
you can use. So that is why people on housing registers don't bid for houses in these kind of shiny buildings, because they know they are going to be out of place.
Service charge.
Yeah. So look, why is it different from Northumberland Park? I gave you so much background, but look at the connections here. You've got Elizabeth Line, you've got Jubilee Line, you've got DLR, you know, you got you can also use boat to go if you want to go somewhere.
Swim towards.
Yeah.
You can use Uber boats.
And then, most importantly, you got a shopping center below Canary Wharf. So you got all the amenity here, you got water here. So there's a different level of demand. So yeah, just to give you the kind of quality of urban realm which we were talking about as part of this workshop theme. So look at the quality of public realm. So this is all going to be improved. You've got DLR on this side, you've got Elizabeth on that side, then you've got Jubilee. you know.
Yeah, the connections are amazing, and
Yeah.
if any of you haven't been to that Canary Wharf crossrail station, it's really worth looking at. It's a garden on top.
Yeah,
Anwar and I give lectures there,
yeah,
yeah, because it's a public space.
yeah, you can,
Yeah.
yeah, in here.
Can you show, yeah, see in there, the garden on
In here.
top, it's an open garden.
Yeah.
And there's an amphitheater, and that's where we hold classes when we were working on this site. So, but you see, you can't just say you can't do those things, because I think Canary Wharf subsidizes the quality public realm. And the thing is, how is it better? The management systems have to be improved, because actually there's a lot of money being generated in Canary Wharf. Now that can subsidize quality public realm. Now the issue is how to make it equitable and accessible. That's the issue, right? Because something it has to be paid. Quality public realm is expensive. Okay. But it generates a lot of income because of density. There's so
Yeah.
many offices there.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the third biggest
Yeah.
employer in whole of London. And this is in Tower Hamlets.
Yeah.
So first Westminster, then City of London, and third is Tower Hamlets. So, yeah, and that is why they've got lots of, business rates. They get 106 contributions. They get all the money you need. Of course, they are doing small little works here and there, for example, providing breakfast to local schools, children.
God, it's
You
so
know,
minor.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Oh,
right?
that's fine then.
Yeah, what is
You can have a different answers, no problem.
what is social responsibility? They are doing a great, but it can be extended. There's a lot of
Yeah.
scope to look into.
Yeah.
I bet that would have such a impact on the mental health of those people that are living in the poor side, basically, because
Yeah.
they're not gonna feel, unfortunately, not valued enough to, or feel deserved enough because they don't have the financial means to live a better quality of life, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
That, you've got a better quality of life and a poor quality of life, and it will cause more problems in the near future.
Yeah, that conflict is perennial. It continues unless someone does something about it.
But we can't look into their accounts. We
Yeah.
can't use account and bring money into them. We should be able to.
Yeah, just shows some kind of, vehicular and pedestrian accesses and stuff. How these buildings are worked out and what are the connections they've created, what kind of.
Yeah, I
views.
think you see this building here, where you design public realm vertically, right? Because the thing about urban intensification is there has to be a vertical movement system,
Yes.
right? Which is very different from a single story where you're independent of the street. And I think, this is where I was saying, it moves into the building level, right? Urban design starts to get into the verticality. But when you do urban intensification,
It depends if all can use this vertical public space and how public is it? Isn't,
yeah, that's why it needs design,
yes,
because it has to be equitable and accessible,
yes.
right? And at the same time, there's the cost, right? So we can't just be critical, we actually have to offer solutions, but I think it's important to
You can
understand the
talk,
problem.
yes, you can talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, and
Yes.
solve it through
Yes.
design. I think design is a problem solving,
We were talking about this earlier. I supervise the students looking at how the 15-minute city concept has to go vertical when you live in
Yeah.
super high density neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So you extend everything upwards as well. So you have to provide several things at
Right.
different
Like Hong
levels.
Kong,
Yeah.
commercial
Yes.
area
Was
was
very
always
good.
7 to 12 floor.
That's true. Yeah, so, yeah, this is.
Is that
about-
your,
Yeah.
does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Shall I? Please. Well done. Thank you very much. I think I asked all the questions that I answered here, everything that is acceptable.
I would like to invite the Brazilian to get inside. And Professor Ethel is there. How can I bring them back, Laura? Just sit down. Okay. The people from, yes. I would like to introduce also Professor Ethel from Brazil, from Prof, where me and Thiago are from. And he's coordinating this debate in Brazil. And Ethel, do you have some questions or some?
Yeah, I would like.
You can introduce yourself also.
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. In fact, I just have an appointment here at 2.
Ethel, só um minuto. Poderia pedir para todo mundo ligar as câmeras para a gente ficar mais próximo?
Poderia, claro. Então, o pessoal que está aqui, Vitória, Maria Rita, Eduardo, se puderem abrir a câmera para a gente se apresentar. Tem mais gente aqui, Marina, Maju. De qualquer forma, I have to apologize because I do have an appointment at 2 p.m. and it's outside where I am now. I have to drive to the place because there was a misunderstanding. We thought it would be at noon in Brazil, but it's not. It was at 1 p.m. But I'm going to be really fast and I'll leave it to you, okay, Maria Lucia? If you can lead with all the people. I have just opened the QA. Nobody has sent any questions, but I would like to say that I just loved the presentations, the way you just split the visions about an area, which is King's Cross. Regina gave us this idea where we could learn from the past and change the way we understand space through this redevelopment. And social housing is, of course, one of the main topics. And she also gave us some other points of view when she said that the kind of use also interferes with this dynamic. It was wonderful when you talked about the artists. And I would like to thank also when we just understand that social housing is a matter everywhere in the world and also in the United Kingdom. For us in Brazil, it changes a lot our point of view because we are a poor country or we are a very asymmetric country with lots of differences economically, politically, and socially speaking. So I'd like to say thank you so much. I will leave it to you, Maria Lucia, so you can just talk to people who are here. Nobody has sent any question. I don't know if I have here. No, Maria Rita is telling us that she's trying to find the document, yeah, but it's not the question itself. I only want to thank you, and I really have to leave. I feel so sorry for that.
Thank you, Ethel. I would like to ask if someone can open the camera and join us this debate or asking something for Professor Regina and Professor Anwar. Okay. Thank you.
Oh no, you're so welcome. We can just stop the presentation, yeah? I don't know if Lange, você pode dar uma ajuda de parar a apresentação? I can do that by myself. Yeah, so now it's better for us to see everybody. Okay. Victoria, obrigada. Thank you so much. You opened your video, okay? But I really have to leave now. I'm so sorry.
No problem, Ethel. Okay, bye-bye. I made a huge mistake because summertime ends and I don't realize that and put the different time from Brazil presentation. But it's okay. Someone here wants to share some thoughts and ask some things. It's not actually asking, but they participate from this.
Yeah, well, I think it's quite interesting to.
I would like to ask you, if you don't mind, to come here because we have
The microphone will be there.
Yes, yes, or just for the Brazilians can participate.
I thought it was quite interesting to take a site like King's Cross that was private development and obviously targeted for those big companies. But I was just wondering, like how do we deal with the external forces and like the economic forces to taking that as a case study and try to apply it to a different one? I think that if we probably focus a bit more on that, it's something that I'm curious to even learn. Like, how do we do that? Because obviously, like, where is that investment coming from, or is it like a complete change of mindset from the start?
I think we were talking about council-led development, because one aspect of development is land, right? So councils own a lot of land. And this is what's worth thinking about, which is subsidizing, development. Because once you have land, the developers have to buy the land. So automatically, they need to have a profit. They have stockholders, right? The role of the council is to deliver housing, right? And if you look at Tower Hamlets, Canary Wharf is like a bank. It produces so much money, right? So they pay taxes. You can imagine how much tax that generates, but it needs innovative planning and innovative urban design to actually deliver, right, the social housing that's necessary, because they can pay. So it exists, right? The transport links, the green links, like that's already been paid for. Now the thing is to make those assets accessible to social, housing. And I think, when you look at trying to design vertically, like the vertical 15-minute city, I think there's a lot of potential to provide good quality housing, right? That's been paid for by your neighbors, right? But it still needs a lot of work because as Anwar said, when people have no money, how do you maintain a building? Do you keep throwing in tax money, to keep it going?
Yes.
Like I think it needs innovative planning policy, aside from architecture design. Like really, the homes have to be that big? No, maybe there are shared spaces, shared kitchens, right?
Yeah, but I think you're talking about a subject that's very important for urban design that sometimes you just forget. This is my point of view. You cannot separate urban design from social policies.
Yeah.
It's impossible. And because you're talking about land, the ownership of land. I don't know how it works properly here in UK, but even though they paid for the land, they still have a lot of duties and responsibilities to society itself. So it's not like they can profit as much as they want. Somehow, the council has to look, if you want to buy this land, you have to do this kind of things to ensure that people will have access to this land.
Yeah, I think there's a new law on social responsibility that actually any development that happens, you need to put partnership into social responsibility.
But I think Anwar will be, you'll be able to tell us whether money will bypass the social responsibility.
The issue we've got is it's becoming bigger and bigger by the day. It's not becoming smaller because of one is land costs, two, construction period cost, and number three is sustainability. If you want to have a building which is passive house or anything which fits the net zero targets or get closer to it, we will have about 30% of the cost building of the building. So you can imagine it's not becoming easier, it's becoming more and more difficult and weird. Because on one side you got planning, and the other side you got social responsibility of housing less well-off residents. So this connection is, I think, what to a certain extent councils are successful. Some councils are successful is because of the policies they set up, and then the quality of planning staff, because planners can push even Canary Wharf Group or anybody to do things. So that is how they are trying to do. Say, for example, if you don't want concierge in your lobby, that is fine. Who wants concierge? You don't need that.
Me, I want.
Yeah.
I want, but I don't want to pay more for that.
So, like, what is wrong in having some kind of space, a bigger space in the lobby? Why does it have to be kind of you are entering into some kind of a shed or something, despite going to very high level development? So that is something which they can do. The other thing is there is legal stake of people who are living there. So that is something you have to think about. Who has got legal stake, and people who don't have legal stake, unfortunately, no one is putting it. Say, for example, in Northumberland Park, someone is renting a, say, for example, flat from someone else who owns the house or as a leasehold. So that family who is renting from the owner, they don't have any power or any stake, any legal stake. No council, no government, no bank will support hold them. No. So they are difficult, it's difficult for them to get anything out of this reservation.
And
So
the
people who
discourse,
get-
yes, and the discourse of the government is
Yeah.
a little bit fake because this share ownership is exactly, no, everybody is living in the same building. This is the new social housing thing, but in same building, but in different entrance. It's terrible how the children could not play in the same playground. It's crazy because the children could
Yeah.
play together and
I mean, yeah, that concept has gone to in many places. Children are going to private schools of people who are private landlords, and people social housing, they are going to different schools. So that is happening.
But we're mixing everything up here. So shared ownership is not necessarily the evil that will end up creating the small A's and the large ones there. It's not like that. This is not even urban design. This is an issue for planners, policy. That's what it is. If the council there, from top down, said, no, you can build as much as you want here, but no way you can do any of that. If the council had in place the framework, which you said, if they have good planners or powerful planners, but this is a power issue, and Summa Glean Power
the
Grant
power
is really
grab,
good.
yes, I remember, yes.
I think, yeah.
And it's the money.
No,
Power,
The power of money,
No,
yes,
you-
of course.
You're very familiar with that.
How can you achieve the same level of quality?
Yeah, the issue is, I think Laura raises the right issue. The issue is not about how we enforce. Planners and the council can enforce the development until that is developed. So after a particular project is complete, then it comes to management company. So that management company, whether it's a housing association or a private development company, they need to follow certain rules and regulations. Now, in 2023, this leveling up department of the current government, they have come up with new housing law, which has been, because that took birth because of Grenfell tragedy.
Yeah.
So now what they're doing is they want all these housing management companies to consult residents and take their feedback. If the feedback is not positive, they are going to be penalized. So, and that is a law. So they can be penalized very badly.
Like ombudsman.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
social
yeah.
house.
So this is law now. It's went to Parliament. It's a proper act, housing act. So this act, and that is why all these housing associations and councils up and down the country are now scared, because the power has now shifted from the powerful
Yeah.
to the
It's an
residents.
issue of power.
Yeah, so that has shifted now. So they are going to give feedback, and then they can also sue them, their housing management company, saying, look, my window has not been repaired for the past 2 years. Because in one of the best developments, me and Regina went, which is called City Island, there, in one of the social housing block, we knocked the door, and then I saw one of them saying, look, they have boarded up my window because they didn't send anybody to repair it for 2 years. You can imagine, so that can't happen now with this new act, so things are changing, but let's see, how it works. Yeah, look, it's a kind of a fine balance between, investment from private and engaging private, companies like Canary Wharf, because they are the wealth creators. And how do we spread it, equally, and how do we achieve this, equity?
Laura brings a very good point, because it's not just for the policies, but how us as urban designers can improve the social housing public space, isn't it? It's not, of course, good public space in town is expensive, but perhaps it's more expensive to deal with all these safe, unsafe spaces and all that you show us today. Perhaps a good urban design is cheaper than continue to face all this social problems. Yes.
And also because not just the public realm, but the services, and the activities that are held there. Because if you look at North Key, right, that development, and also north of North Key, right, it's a very deprived area, but the access to employment is great with Canary Wharf, but before they can be engaged, they need the skills to have those jobs available. So really the crucial thing is what schools, right, can be had in that area so that those young children can actually work. So you're empowering people by giving them access to jobs, and jobs are right there. There's so many jobs that are going on there, but they come from elsewhere. The people that are working in Canary Wharf, are coming from elsewhere, not from that neighborhood.
If they do, it's just start up early entry jobs. Receptionists and stuff.
Anwar, do you think design codes can be helpful in avoiding all this, imbalance in the generation?
Look, the issue is there is a competition between developers and between developments. Who sells at what price? Because they want to quickly exchange and move on to the new development. So they want to give all these services, whether they've got gym, whether they've got 24/7 swimming pool and concierge and all that stuff. And then they also have to accommodate social housing. So there's a gap there. And those people, they don't want all that stuff because they say, no, I'll go to the council gym. That's fine. That's at 1/10 the price, or maybe not 1/10, maybe 1/4 the price. So
It's 1/10.
That's how expensive your gym.
So look, the other thing which Maria, Lucia, and you were also saying about shared ownership. It's called as an intermediate order. They are neither social tenants nor the buyers, like private buyers.
It's not
So
for
they're
the
in the
low
middle.
income.
They're in the middle. It's generally targeted for startup families or startup couples or professionals and that kind of stuff. So that is also working in many places because they use those places in the middle of first layer social housing, second layer intermediate, rent and shared ownership, third is private on top. So this is how it works, 30, 30, 30. But the issue with shared ownership is you get stuck there. As soon as you buy, you can buy, but you know, it's like a mousetrap. It's easy to get in, but you can't come out easily. You can't sell it if you want to come out. If you want to move home, or if you have children, you go to school places somewhere else, you want to move, you're stuck. So these are the issues. So
just not benefiting from the whole thing. You have to get candidates. If you have got that on the, if you were to sell it privately, it would be fully
no, I mean,
Well, exactly.
there are, you can sell it, but you can't sell it on your own.
Yeah.
You have to go through them, through your seller.
On the last one, it worked. Make the more accessible.
I mean, I'm not sure about land value, but yeah, but affordable homes, yes, because you know, still people can still get something for lower deposits and for you know, lower what do you call service charge is a bit lower than private service charge. Then rent is because they are doubly disadvantaged because they need to pay mortgage on their share of ownership, and then they need to pay rent on the rest. So that is you know a bit more.
It's more expensive.
Yeah, but still, you know, whether we like it or not, look, we can't just say, oh, write it off, write it off. We can't do that because all those things are working at certain levels. Maybe there's an opportunity to optimize how they can work better. But I don't think it's a good idea to get rid of it because we need, you know, shared ownership. We need all these different products, different types, for different tenure types.
Guys, may I ask Regina to finish? You have something to finish the debate? Yes. Girls or anyone else have some last questions?
Finish with some dinner.
Yes, we can continue the pub, no problem.
Never empty.
I think what you were saying, you could somehow equate the economics of the other aspects, and then prove that point, like as a development of a project. I think that would make a lot of sense if we have like data to support like what's the crime data, how does that translates into an economic?
Because the same that happen with health.
Yeah, similar.
First time we realize that we have to.
Yes, there is an American author, that's space.
Yeah.
He wrote about exactly how the urban design can improve this safe place for, you know, for small actions. We're not talking about big issues, small actions. You know, we can improve that. It's very complicated.
Yeah.
You make a point exactly. How can we solve this? I think we don't have one solution for this.
I think
problem.
another thing to think about is homes. We need to deliver homes, not houses, right? Because houses, it's like, how many houses do you have and how much does it cost? We're actually delivering homes and we're undervaluing the concept of rental. It should be cheap and accessible. This is the model of Vienna. Right.
Yes, Vienna and Singapore, and we have all
Right.
other.
So it's about homes that we're creating, and that's why public realm matters, right? And you don't have to own it. Actually, you're crazy. You're gonna buy a house, you're forever paying your mortgage, you're poor all the time. You know, for what? Right? So I think it's really quite relevant to really think, do I want that? Or can I do affordable rental for a part of my thing? And right now it isn't working because the rent is so high because there's a lack. You know, there's a shortfall of the number of homes available. And I think, you know, we really need to boost up number of homes before these things settle down. And it's my mantra, urban intensification. Yes, let's build more, but do it well. Yeah, and it really needs a connection of all those morphological levels, right? Because and I don't really, everyone will say, oh no, let's just have single detached homes. No, that's that's costly.
Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't
how
work
can
anymore.
you, if you do that,
Yeah.
how can we deal with climate emergency? We can't.
No,
Because we need
no,
to, we need intensification. But how best we do it, that is something up to the designers.
Well, at least you agree on one thing, right? Yeah, you agree on urban intensity, that's good.
Yes, I think this workshop is actually for that, we open the discussion. I think we have very good questions here. Thank you, Regina, a lot for your thoughts, your lecture, and Professor Anwar also. Thank you very much. I love to see that we have some challenge, but we are trying to solve that. As I told, I think we don't have one solution for the problem. I think we must think too much more for this way of massive small changes, because we must engage people for the matter. It's not a top-down solution. I think it's too much more bottom-up. We must engage people for trying to together bring solutions. Thank you all for staying here until now, Brazil. I'm missing you. I'm come back. Thank you, Marina. I saw you were here. Thank you, guys. We're finished here. Bye-bye. Laura said goodbye because she must run to her house.
I'm so happy they were nice.
You went there in the beginning.
Lani, you can.
Oi, professora. Já encerrei aqui, tá? Vou parar a gravação.
Eu tô falando inglês que vai ser tomar um tempo. Obrigada pelo apoio aí mais uma vez.
Por nada. Tchau, tchau.
Tá bom? Obrigada. Tchau, pessoal. Obrigada. Regina, can you put this